Frieren Beyond Journey's End is not boring. You are just watching it wrong. Let me explain. So, a couple of days ago, I was coming back from Walmart after buying the Part 2 edition of the first season of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, and I started to talk to my roommates about it who were also home at the time. One of them, who I tried to put on this show a few weeks back, still hasn't finished it yet, and his excuse for it is that Frieren is too boring, which doesn't make sense. But instead of immediately dismissing his opinion, I asked him why he thought that, and he said that there simply weren't enough fight scenes. Which I guess is kind of understandable, especially if you grew up watching like battle shonen, something like Naruto or Bleach or One Piece, or even if you still enjoy them. But the fact of the matter is that even though Frieren is a peaceful show, and there is a difference between peaceful and boring, Frieren still has insane action in it, and it's all over the place. Don't believe me? Watch this real quick.
The mage who made great contributions to humanity's analysis of Zoltrak, and sent more demons to the grave than anyone else in history. Frieren the Slayer.
All credit to Marigo on TikTok for that fire-ass edit. Now back to the topic at hand. Obviously, as we can see, Frieren is jam-packed with action. But the main difference between Frieren and other shows like Battle Shonen is the fact that it's also primarily a peaceful show. So while there is a lot of action, the main focus is the characters and the small things that happen around them on a day-to-day basis. So it's really more like a slice of life anime than anything else. Now for me, I love slice of life anime because they're character driven more than plot driven. That doesn't mean that I don't like plot driven shows or plot driven stories, because I'm human. Obviously I'm going to like the plot. I just like the character driven stories a lot more. I think they shine a lot more than the typical plot heavy story. Because in all honesty, I don't think that you can have a good plot without good characters. But I definitely think that you can have fantastic characters without necessarily having a great plot. And I honestly think that Frieren is one of these shows, where the plot doesn't have to be overly elaborate or extravagant in order to tell a really good story. I'd go so far as to say that this is obvious, because the name of the show is literally Frieren Beyond Journey's End. So the journey that we would initially be looking at for entertainment has already passed. So what else is there besides the characters after the main quote-unquote story? And this is where the very important distinction between peaceful and boring comes into play. Obviously, since in the context of this show, the Demon King has already been slain, our characters are now in an era of peace. They no longer have this looming threat of the Demon King who is out to kill all humans and kill all elves and rule the entire continent or world that Frieren takes place on because he's dead. This means that there's no real antagonist in Frieren. And sure, while there are still demons that are around, like what we see in the early episodes, they're not the main focus anymore. So, what can fill that hole when there are no big bads and no proper antagonists in the show? The characters. And again, this is the entire point of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, is to have the main focus on the characters, because they're so well written that regardless of what they do or what the story demands of them, they're still going to be enjoyable to watch. Now, while I understand why that might not be something certain people enjoy, I do not want to hear that Frieren is boring, because it's simply not true. Frieren was never meant to be a battle shonen. It was meant to be a story about these characters and how they interacted with each other and the world around them, with incredible fight scenes mixed in, which is precisely what we're getting in Season 1, and what I hope to continue to be getting in Season 2. We'll see about that in January. And as a matter of fact, there were people that were upset by the end of Season 1's airing of Frieren because of the mage arc that happened towards the end of the show. Because they were so afraid that it was going to fall into the battle arc or the training arc trope that a lot of anime fall into, especially in their early seasons. But again, Frieren subverted expectations by allowing the characters to go into that sort of environment and also actively play against the trope of a training arc. It was handled with class, and it was handled with a sense of care that a lot of training arcs really don't do, because they want to show off the character's strengths for the sake of aura points. So what they did differently is that while they still gave Frieren her rightful flowers for being as strong as she is as a 1,000-year-old mage, they didn't pit her against all of the other participants of the mage exam. As a matter of fact, they made Frieren help with the rest of the participants in order to defeat herself, which is an incredible spin on the entire idea of having an overpowered character in your story. But anyways, I digress. I got way off topic there. What I'm trying to bring home is the fact that Frieren was never meant to be one of those flashy battle shonen. It has downtime. It has slice of life moments. It has relaxing moments. It has moments where the characters are only interacting with each other and there's just dialogue being given back and forth. And these are actually the most important scenes in Frieren, and they're the most enjoyable to watch, at least in my opinion, because this is where all of the character development happens. This is where we see our characters interact and how they are and who they are. In shonen, specifically battle shonen, these scenes normally happen in the middle of a fight, which is exactly why you get arcs like Naruto's Pain arc, where the fight lasts way too long. Or, I mean, even in Naruto, you can go and see the 4th Great Ninja War arc, which is so unbelievably long because the character development happens in the middle of the fight. So honestly, I think that the people that are big fans of fight scenes should be praising Frieren, because they allow their fights to be fights, and they allow their character development to be character development. They don't have to intermingle the two of them in order to keep your attention, because you need flashy pictures and fight scenes, while also being able to digest the character development scenes. They trust their audience enough to be able to separate one from another. And I think this is honestly what I appreciate the most about Frieren, is that they respect their audience, and they think that their audience is intelligent enough to be able to both digest the character development scenes on their own, as well as enjoy a fight scene and letting it just be a fight scene. There's no need for the unnecessary fluff of having your character monologue their feelings or monologue their intentions in between each and every move that a character has in the fight, which is wonderful because it allows us to be able to just strictly enjoy the action. This is what I meant at the beginning of the video when I said you're watching Frieren wrong if you think it's boring. Because what's actually happening is that it's simply a difference in storytelling. The writers believe that you are mature and adult enough to be able to differentiate between a fight scene and a character scene, and you don't need them to be together. Anyways, I'm glad you stopped in, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really sorry it took so long. I've been busy with school and work, but when I heard my roommate say that he thought that Frieren was boring, I simply could not let that slide. So this video is kind of to explain to him specifically, out of spite, the difference between Frieren and other anime that he normally watches. And hopefully it brought some clarity to you as well. Let me know what you thought about my take in the comments, and if you liked the video, please drop a like, and if you think that I'm worth a sub, then drop one of those too. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. Have a good one.